Hey everybody, you listen to WVA Stonewall Jackson. I'm currently watching Fox News, and we listen to Donald Trump. Enjoy.
We must turn the page on yesterday. Only a change in leadership will produce a change in outcomes, and we can't take, as a country, 4 more years of Obama, and that's what you get with Hillary Clinton, but probably worse. In this new American future, American workers will always come first. America first. Always come first. This will include a complete revitalization of the Michigan manufacturing sector. Now, you have to understand, the Michigan manufacturing sector is a disaster. Look at your notes, look at your stats, look at what's happening to your state. You're losing your businesses. It's like taking candy away from a baby. And many people in this audience right now that think you have jobs, you're going to find out very soon that your company is leaving for Mexico or some other place, and you're not going to have your job very long. And if Trump gets in, those days are over, folks. Those days are over. We will be bringing back our jobs to Michigan. There will be a very big price to pay for those companies that want to leave our land, go someplace else, manufacture their goods, and sell them back with no retribution. It won't happen. There will be consequence. Won't happen. It will not happen. Michigan lost more than 1 in 4 of its manufacturing jobs since NAFTA. As you know, NAFTA, one of the worst trade bills in history, maybe the worst trade bill ever signed in the history of the world, not only in our country. It's emptied out Michigan. It's emptied out New England. It's emptied out New York State. It's emptied out so many of our great companies. They leave and they fire. We end up with devastation. We end up with unemployment. We end up with nothing. The bill was signed by Bill Clinton. It was supported by Hillary Clinton. Right here in this community, you've lost 1 in 7 manufacturing jobs since Bill Clinton put China into the World Trade Organization. Another Hillary Clinton-backed deal. She backs all the deals. And by the way, she will be backing Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, if she is elected. Just mark your words. Just remember, you know it's going to happen. She considered it the gold standard. All of a sudden, when she heard me talking about it, she said, I can't win this one. So she went against it. She'll go back immediately. And you saw that when the governor of Virginia, who's her friend, said that was going to happen. Detroit lost more than 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs following the NAFTA and WTO agreements that were supported very strongly by my opponent. No industry has been hurt more by Hillary Clinton's policies than the automobile industry, or as we call it, the car industry. It has been a total disaster. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, before NAFTA went into effect, there were 285,000 auto workers in Michigan. Today, that number is down to only 160,000, and it's going to be a lot lower because if you look at the massive plants being built right now in Mexico, car plants, folks, you can kiss a lot of these jobs goodbye, but not with me, not with me. Won't happen. In 2014, General Motors announced plans to double its investments in Mexico by 2018. Not good. In April 2016, Ford Motor Company announced plans to invest another $1.6 billion constructing an auto plant in Mexico. Mexico will become the car capital of the world very, very quickly. And Michigan is going to end up with lots of empty buildings all over the place unless you elect Donald Trump president, in which case it's not going to happen. The same month, Fiat Chrysler announced 1,300 layoffs. The list goes on and on. We will turn it around. We will turn it around fast. We will meet with these companies and we will say, it will not be easy for you to move your plant to Mexico, for you to sell your cars through what will be a very strong border, and for you not to pay tax on those cars coming in. Okay? And when we tell them that there will be a substantial tax on the cars that they make in Mexico and other places, number one, they're not going to move in the first place. And number two, if they do, our country's going to make one heck of a lot of money. But to save your jobs and to do all of the things that I'm talking about, we have to win on November 8th. The destruction that NAFTA started will be finished off if the Trans-Pacific Partnership is approved. It will be almost, nothing's as bad as NAFTA, but it will be almost as bad as NAFTA. We know from Hillary's closest friend that she's planning to ram through TPP if she's elected. She even called it, as I said, the gold standard. Its passage would be a disaster for Michigan in particular, for the car industry in particular, for the people of Michigan. I won't let it happen. According to the Economic Policy Institute, the United States trade deficit with the proposed TPP member countries cost over 1 million manufacturing jobs in our country in 2015. By far, the biggest losses occurred in motor vehicles and parts, which lost nearly 740,000. Think of that. 740,000 manufacturing jobs. Michigan ranks first for jobs lost as a share of state workforce due to trade deficit with TPP members. Just imagine how many more automobile jobs will be lost if Hillary gets her wish and approves TPP. It will not be pretty. That's why I have announced that we will withdraw from the deal before that deal can ever happen. I have previously laid out a detailed 7-point plan for trade reform available on my website. It includes strong protections against currency manipulation from countries like China and tariffs against any nation that cheats by unfairly subsidizing their goods, of which many of them do. My plan also includes a total renegotiation of NAFTA so our jobs can come back. And if we can't make a much better deal than we have right now, we will walk. I'm not in any way, shape, or form an isolationist. I don't believe in it. But we have to make great deals for our country. We're losing in our whole trade negotiation with all countries over $800 billion a year. That's a trade deficit. Who negotiates these deals? We want great trade deals, and we will have them. But we want trade deals that work for America, that create jobs and wealth for our country, that work for the American worker. We want to shrink our almost $800 billion trade deficit. We don't want to expand it. And it's been expanding for years. For years and years, you look at the charts, up, 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 up. And I say to myself so often, why don't they do something about it? And the reason is we have political hacks as our negotiators. We have politicians as our negotiators. We have politicians that are controlled, like Hillary Clinton, by her donors, her special interests, and her lobbyists, and they won't let her do what's right for our workers and for our country. We want to be leading the world in production, exports, and manufacturing. We want jobs to leave from other countries and come into our country for a change. Another major issue in this race is foreign policy. Hillary Clinton has made one bad foreign policy decision after another, beginning with the support for going to war in Iraq. And I opposed it so strongly. Nobody cared. I was a civilian, but I opposed it. I said, you will have a total destabilization of the Middle East. It was such common sense. And look what happened. Her tenure as Secretary of State may be regarded as the most disastrous in United States history, but she is totally without remorse. Her failed decisions as Secretary of State unleashed ISIS onto the world. But has she ever apologized for the death and destruction she has caused? No. Look at the world before and after she became Secretary of State. Pre-Hillary, in the early 2009s, Iraq was seeing a reduction in violence. Libya was somewhat stable. Syria was under control. The group we now know today,
I'll have to start the show
ISIS,
again in a second, people.
was close to being extinguished. Iran was being choked by sanctions. Now, take a look at what we have. Fast forward to the present time. After